Well, hey folks, and welcome to Solar Cabin Channel. This is part 2 of my series on how to build an 8x16 tiny house on wheels or freestanding tiny house. And if you watched the first lesson, which I highly recommend, what you did is you got to see all the different ways that an 8x16 can be used. And I showed you these 4 different floor plans. And you can choose from any one of those 4 plans or come up with your own. All of those units are completely modifiable. Just by clicking on them, you can select and move and erase and do whatever you want. Move windows, move doors, move components in any one of those 4 designs, or come up with your own design if you want. Any of those 4 floor plans can work just fine in this 8x16 tiny house on wheels or freestanding house. And what I'm going to show you now is I'm just going to go through the basics of framing a structure. That way, if you understand how a structure is framed and constructed, then it makes it a lot easier for you to understand how they're built. And this is probably the simplest house I can think of that you could build, because it's all just straight cuts. If you can draw a straight line and you can cut a straight line, you can build this house. So I'm just going to erase these units here because they're kind of distracting. So we'll just get them out of the way. And got some things over here in the way. And I'm just going to erase these so that we have a little easier view of the structure that I'm working on. Okay, so now I've got those erased. Now, what I've got here is an 8x16, and I show this is either freestanding or built on a trailer. Now, the trailer that I'm using is a 7x16, what they generally refer to as a car hauler. And you can get these, Big Techs and a lot of different businesses make these 8x16 or 7x16 trailers. The trailer is 7x16, the house is 8x16. And this is a dual wheel trailer. Generally, they can handle up to about 5,000 pounds axle weight, which is enough for a house this size. It will handle that much weight easy. And these trailers you can pick them up new for right around $3,500. However, I see them come on eBay and Craigslist all the time for about $2,500 for a good used one. So you might want to shop there before you go pick you up a new one. Now, I show this is an 8x16, 2x6 floor framing, 2x4 wall framing, 2x6 roof framing. This gives you good insulation in your roof, which is where you lose most of your heat. Would give you R13 insulation if you use bad insulation in the walls, and R19 insulation in the roof. Whether you insulate the floor is up to you. It's not necessary for most houses or most climates, but if you want to insulate it, you can. Now, I also show this on deck block, which is the same way that I built my cabin. My cabin sits on these deck blocks, and you can pick these up at any home supply store that sells building materials. They run you about $7 a deck block, and you would need 3 rows. I will show this down here. You would need 3 rows of 4 blocks, so you'd need, what's that, 12 blocks, right? So you'd need 12 blocks under your foundation. And the only thing you need to know really about building this on a freestanding foundation is that the ground needs to be level and clear, so that you don't have anything that's going to grow up underneath the house, and the blocks need to be leveled and on firm ground. You don't want any place where it's going to be flooded out, or you don't want it on sand or something like that on soft soil. The ground needs to be firm, and if you do that, these deck blocks are designed to hold a lot of weight. They will hold a structure this size easy. Now, to get to the basics, first I'm going to erase or hide some of this stuff so I can show you what we did here. The only difference in the House on Wheels version and the freestanding version is the floor framing. So I'm just going to show you that here. Okay, now you can see this as it's set on the deck blocks, and I've just got it set on 12 deck blocks, row in the middle and row on 2 sides there. The floor framing on the freestanding structure I've got shown is on 16-inch centers. Okay, this is 2x6 lumber on 16-inch centers. That gives you a good solid floor frame. All right, now the difference in that and this one over here I'll show you which I'm going to have to back up here. Excuse me for a second while I just hide these. Okay, now you can see that trailer, and you can see the difference is I went with, it's still 2x6 lumber, but instead of going with 16-inch centers, I went with 2-foot centers. Because you have a framing structure underneath this that goes all the way around underneath the edges, you don't need as much support as you do with the blocks. However, if you want to go with 16-inch centers, you still can. The only difference in this house is that you see these indents for the wheel wells. You have to build around the wheel wells. And every trailer is a little bit different in where they situate their wheels. So there isn't any set, I can't tell you what the exact dimensions would be for you to build on your trailer because every trailer is a little bit different. But you can see what I've done here is I've just built in around these wheel wells. And your flooring will go inside that. And then you would have a short box that just goes up and over your fenders so that, and those would generally be hidden underneath the furniture. Like you would put these wheel wells, you would hide them underneath your kitchen cabinets and stuff like that so that they don't stick out in the middle of the room. So you won't even notice that they're there on the inside because they'll be hid underneath a counter or a cabinet. And you can do these on 16-inch centers. I show this on 2-foot centers because that reduces some of the weight. On a trailer, we're trying to keep the weight down as much as possible. On the freestanding, it's not an issue. But on the trailer, weight is a big thing. Now, I show this on a trailer that already has the wood slats that are already built in. You don't have to have the wood slats if you just have the steel frame. It'll still work. The wood slats are just come on them, so you know why remove them, because they just give you more stability on your trailer. And generally, the way these are attached is they usually use lag bolts going through the frame. They usually go through lag bolts through the frame of the trailer and up into the wood, and then they also use steel strapping, and they'll bolt the steel strapping down in several places along this to hold the frame and the house to the structure. If you're not sure how to do that, you can go online or go on YouTube. There's probably half a dozen videos or sources that will show you how to attach your floor framing to your trailer. Okay, so that's the only difference. Everything else in the way you build these structures is identical. The floor framing is the only thing that are different in these two structures. So now I'm going to unhide these again. Okay, and let's get to the flooring here. Now, I'm going to recommend some materials, but if you choose to use something else, that's just fine as long as it's good, sturdy material. And I always recommend getting recycled materials whenever possible. So, you know, this is a good opportunity for you. If you're a scrounger, you can probably find some recycled materials. Okay, so I'm just going to show us now. For the flooring panels, I recommend OSB 3/4 inch 4x8 sheets, tongue and groove. That gives you a real solid flooring that isn't going to sag, okay? 3/4 inch, good solid flooring. These come in 4x8 sheets, so since this is a 8x16 foot trailer, you need 4 sheets, and you won't even have to cut them. And when you put them down there, make sure that you square your corners and level everything, okay? If you square all your corners to your first panel, then the rest of the frame will be square. So that's just the easy way to do it. Put down your first panel, screw it in place, and square your corners so that it is square. And what square means is it's aligned with all of the edges, okay, and the corners. If you do that, and then level the entire floor after it's done with the ground, then you'll have a good solid structure. So there's your floor panels. Now we're going to go to the wall panels. And here what I'm doing is I've just got some 2x4, and I built these with 7-foot walls. If you want to go with 8-foot walls, you can go with 8-foot walls. I went with 7-foot walls because on a trailer we're trying to reduce the weight, and that also reduces the drag, and I'll explain that here in a minute. We're going to reduce the weight and the drag on a trailer. And the way you can do that is by going with a 7-foot wall instead of an 8-foot wall. In the peak up here, because this does not have a traditional ceiling going across it, because in the peak it's over 8 foot. Okay, so you've still got inside room, headroom is generally 8 foot. Nobody stands right next to the wall. So 7-foot sidewalls, you're reducing a lot of weight by cutting it down to 7 feet, and you're reducing drag. If you go up 8 feet, you put this up higher, that means it's going to be top heavy. It's going to be more likely to sway back and forth when you're driving down the road. Dropping it down just that foot makes it less wind resistant and reduces it from being top heavy. Okay? And it reduces a lot of the weight. So you're trying to reduce the weight. I've still got some stuff hanging out here. Let's get rid of this here. Okay. So that's the reason I went with 7-foot walls. If you want to go for it with an 8-foot wall, that's fine. What you need to remember on sizes for a trailer is it needs to be less than 13.5 inches high. That's from the ground. 13.5 inches tall, and it needs to be less than 8.5 inches wide, or 8.5 feet. So you want to go 13.5 feet, no more, if you're building up, and 8.5 feet wide is as wide as you can go to be legal on the road. If you're never going to put it on the road, build any damn size you want. But if you're going to put it on the road, then it's got to be under those sizes. Now, on the sidewalls, okay, 2x4 structure, and I put these on 2-foot centers. 2-foot centers, that reduces the amount of wood, so it saves a lot on the cost. If you want to go 16-inch on centers, that's just fine. I don't care. But on the House on Wheels, I recommend 2-foot centers because that reduces a lot of weight. You're taking quite a few 2x4s out of that situation that would have to be added weight to your trailer. So, I show a end wall, okay, with a double header on top of it, single lower floor header, okay, or lower seam board, and these are just screwed or nailed to the floor directly through the floor panels and into the floor framing, okay. Same thing on both walls. Now I show a window here, but your window doesn't have to go there. You can put your window any place you want. Now that's the end walls. We'll unhide this. Now, here's your side walls. Same thing, 2x4 walls. All right. And on 2-foot centers with a double header and single sill plate. And those are your walls, okay? And I would do California corners on these, but you can do them any way you want. California corners adds one extra 2x4 in the corners just so that you have something to attach your inner wall surfaces to. And that's about it for wall framing, okay? Now, where you put your doors and windows, that's entirely up to you. Now, if you're doing it on a trailer, like I show this one over here, you could choose from your floor plan that you selected where you want to put your door. So say you want to put your door over here. All you need to do when you have this SketchUp open is click on the wall. And then right click and click where it says edit wall. And then it says add window, add door. Let's go add door right there. And I want a 2x4 header over my door, and I want the door to be 3 foot wide. Yeah, that sounds okay. And then you're just going to select where you want your door. Boom. There, put your door in, okay? Now you can see where you got your door. And it already frames it, puts it exactly where you want it. On a 7-foot wall, it puts it right up next to the header there. So there is your 3-foot door wherever you want it. Same thing for windows. Say you want a window on this end over here. All you need to do is right click on it, click on edit wall, click add window, okay, and I want a 2x3 window, 2-foot by 3-foot window with a 2x4 header, since I'm working with 2x4 walls, okay, and then I can just take this and I can just center it right there, boom, it puts in my window, okay. That easy. That's how easy it is to modify and change these. If you don't like something, you can go back and change it out. You don't like that? Great. Just go back to that. Just go back up to edit and click undo add window, and then click undo hide. And whoops. Undo hide. There you go. And it just puts the wall back in. Say you didn't like that window? Okay. Just put the wall back the way it was. Put a window somewhere else. All right. So that's an easy way for you to modify where you're going to put your doors and your windows in these units, and you can put them anywhere you want. Same thing on this unit over here. All you need to do is select where you want it. If I want a door, let's see, let's put my door in the middle down here on the end here. I want my door in the window, or door on this end over here. Let's put a door and a window on this side here. Just click right click, click edit wall, click add door, and I want a 2x4 header, 3-foot door, okay, and I'm just going to put this, I'm going to put the door, let's see, let's put the door over here. I'm going to put the door there, and then I'm going to put a window right in here, okay, right click on it again, edit wall, add window. I'm going to put a 2x3 window in there, and a 2x4 header, okay. Oops, I clicked on the wrong one apparently. Try that again. Edit wall. Add window. There we go. 2 by 3, 2, 4. Yeah, okay. And I'm going to put it right there. There it did it. Okay. Now, sometimes when you put in a window or a door, you have to modify it slightly. So all you do, if you want to modify it, double click on it like it's any other component. If I want to take out some 2x4 members or something like that, I can do that. So let's see what we got here. I don't really need a additional 2x4 right here. I've got additional 2x4. So I'm going to open this up. Oops, clicked on the wrong one. I'm going to take that 2x4. I'm just going to delete it. Okay. That puts my window where it's supposed to be. Now you can see I've also got a 2x4 here. So we'll just delete that. Okay, now my window looks like the way it is. So there I've got a 2x3 window and my door in this end of the house. If I want to modify this so that this is the way I want to enter on this side instead of entering on the side, I can do that, and then I can place all my furniture and everything else in here. So that's how you frame windows and doors, and if you do that, you can play around with it, decide wherever you want it to be. And let's unhide everything here. Okay, so now I've shown you how to do your floor framing, your wall framing, how to add doors and windows to these units. The only thing left really that I need to show you is just how to design your roof. You can use the roof design that I've showed you here, or you can, if you want a different pitch, you can do a different pitch here. So just to show you, these are the roofs are fairly easy to design. What I'm going to do is I'll just erase this roof here, and these boards here I'll just hide. And the way you design a roof is in the tool section, or in the draw section in the house builder, you'll go to roof tool, and then just select your material. I want 2x6s. I want we'll go with a 6 pitch, an overhang of, now remember, on a house on wheels, your roof pitch has to be, the end boards have to be under 8'6" for width. On a standalone freestanding house, you can go with any one you want here. So we'll go with a 6-inch overhang and 6-inch rake overhang. And I'll show you what the difference is there. Now, there's a 6 pitch. You can see the difference here. Okay, with a 6 pitch, you get a little bit more headroom, and your overhang off of the end walls, which I don't do an overhang on the house on wheels because you don't want the wind to catch underneath it and rip your roof off. So we go right to the edge with our roofing framing for a house on wheels. You can do a short overhang if you want, but I don't suggest a very big overhang, at least not on that front end, because as you're driving down the road, the wind's going to catch on that front end, and it's going to tend to lift your roof and lift your house right off of your trailer. You could put an overhang on this end, it won't make any difference. So that's a 6 pitch. If you want to go back, if you want to change the pitch on those, then you can adjust your roof and do your end wall plates however you want to do them. Alright folks, I think I've done enough here to show you how to frame and construct one of these. And you've got those 4 floor basic floor plan models that you can play with any way you want, and that way you can design these, put your doors, windows wherever you want them. You can understand the framing, how the roof is built. You can get in and do any type of detail work you want on these. If you want to add all your sidewalls and panels and everything like that to show what the entire house would look like the way you want it designed, then that's why I design these SketchUps like this. I'm not going to do all the work for you, because that takes me a lot of time that I could be spending on other projects, designing other houses for you. So what I'm going to do is just provide you with the 2 SketchUps. Go to my website, simplesolarhomesteading.com. Up at the top, click on the link where it says 8x16 tiny house lessons. Go download the 2 SketchUps, and the one SketchUp has the tiny house on wheels framing and the 4 models, and the other one will also include this model that has the standalone freestanding house, if you're going to be building one of these as a freestanding unit. And then you can play around with everything. You can modify all the different floor plans. You can modify the framing to any way you want to do it. If you want to add a loft, all you got to do is extend these walls up to 10 feet and then build 2 roof sections instead of 1 roof section. You can figure all that stuff out. I think I've given you enough here basics for you to understand how they're constructed, and go ahead and play with those and understand how they're constructed. And if you want to build one, you'll probably have enough experience just by following along with those 2 lessons that you could probably get started if you have some basic construction skills. Alright folks, thanks for coming by my channel. Again, go by my website, simplesolarhomesteading.com. Check out some of the plans that I already have for tiny houses, off-grid cabins, tiny houses on wheels, simple shelters, and my book for Simple Solar Homesteading, Off the Grid, which is 355 pages of all the information you need to know for setting up your off-grid systems, your solar systems, your water systems, your septic systems. All those systems are included in that book. All right, thanks for coming by the channel, everybody, and have a great night.